And you just got to understand that you're playing Caleb. I mean, I don't have another way to put it. Like, there's some context to be added there versus like fire Coach Inge, fire Coach Morrell. Like, do you really want that like right now?
And the over under is 59.5.
No one's got the pencil out.
Yeah, I got the pencil out because I guess I just am so engulfed in UW, right? Dude, Wazoo's lost 5 straight games. Hear Dickert come out on the presser and pretty much say like we're broke, we're poor, we don't have any food. The NIL and the transfer portal is going to come to, suck all our players away in like 27 days.
Yeah.
Dude, I got a funny feeling as good of a coach as Dickert, supposedly is. Dude, has he lost this like locker room and lost this team?
We're 9-0. We said at the beginning of the year, if we could beat Oregon and beat USC, we have a realistic chance of going undefeated, and we are here. Tell me what you're thinking. Izzo, let's start with you.
Man, I think we can celebrate breaking the record for scoring the most points we've ever scored against USC. I think Dylan Johnson had a freaking breakout game of all breakout games.
He really did.
I don't know about, Noah, but I was tense for this game. This is the most, I think, I can't say I was more nervous than Oregon towards the end of it, but for the duration, like trading touchdowns with them, like I just didn't want to be in a position where we're trading touchdowns with Caleb Williams. Like even utter faith in our offense, but it was just nerve-wracking to know like whoever kicks the first field goal, whoever turns the ball over first may lose. And we were the one who got the punt blocked. We had, we kicked the first field goal. And so I'm math just worried. I was worried. I was worried about that. So obviously we took care of what we needed to do. And, there's things we need to clean up like there always is. I mean, we struggled against the run. There's things you can forgive because you're chasing Caleb Williams around, all that good stuff. But I'm obviously extremely happy for ZTF with the passing of his father. So, there's so many, there's more positives than negatives from this game. So I'm happy with it.
I agree. The trading touchdowns was crazy. Noah, what'd you think?
Man, we had the opportunity, man. Izzo and I made the opportunity, had the opportunity to go down there and make the trip, man. And it was, I could just say, man, the Coliseum did not disappoint. And the history of that place, like I've said, is just iconic, man. The amount of UW fans that like traveled to the game, I mean, there must have been 10,000 plus. There was just a lot of purple in the stands and all over the stadium too. They did a nice job with all the USC red or whatever they call that. But man, the chance of "Let's Go Huskies" on the broadcast feed, the chance of just us like going at it with them toe to toe with the different chants we had was sick. And then hell, not to mention the freaking Heisman showdown we had last year with Caleb Williams being the actual Heisman and Mike Penix being the front runner. Those guys didn't disappoint. I mean, dude, it was a great game, man. At 4:30 kickoff, Reese Fowler and Herbie on the call.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's everything you want. I mean, as a kid, you grow up, you watch the Coliseum, you got Keith Jackson on the mic. It's like when you walk up to that stadium, man, it's just you see the Olympic rings, you see the torch, you see that the archway where they walk in. It was just it just didn't disappoint, man. And you could see in the players, dude, it was a very business-esque trip, man. Like they were ready. They had those killer eyes going, man. And it was just it was just everything we wanted it to be, and it turned out we're 9-0, man.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's like same thing with Oregon. On the biggest stages, we seem to rise up and play to that level that is championship level, and we're doing it when everybody is seeing us. And I feel like in the past, especially last year, we were doing these great things, but people weren't really seeing us, whether it was 7:30 starts or just not a nationally televised game or it was on Pac-12 network, And I feel like everybody's seeing us now. The recruits are all seeing us. The whole country is. I mean, I know during the game, Pat McAfee had his little show going on, and they were talking about these plays, like that Penix touchdown in the end zone to Culp. They were like, man, this guy looks like the real deal Heisman hype, and he is. And they delivered on the biggest stage. Later in this episode, we're going to get into it with Lofa Tatupu. He's going to tell us all about it. So make sure you guys stick around for that, because Lofa, besides being a really, really good guy, is extremely smart. And he's all world when it comes to football. So make sure you stick around for that. But let's dive into the game to start. I'll stay with you, Noah. What were some of your big takeaways from our victory? I mean, it was a shootout.
Yeah, man. I mean, when you look at, what does everyone kind of know the University of Washington for in 2023? It's this elite pass game, man. We got Michael Penix, like we said. He can throw the ball over the field. But then all of a sudden, here comes Dylan Johnson, the transfer out of Mississippi State, man. 256 on the ground, like 199 yards before contact. I mean, he was averaging not getting touched until 7+ yards down the field.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just a dominating performance, man. And we talked about this a little bit. It's like who's the first to 50? Who's the first to 50? And those first drives of the games, I mean, you had Caleb just picking us apart, putting some of our defenders, in the blender, just spin move after spin move, elusive. I mean, Caleb in person is special. And I know he's special on TV, but when you see him, you see his legs, you see his strength, you see literally that even on that sack with Voy. We'll probably talk about that later, but like he's like pulling him down, 260 pounds, is strong, and Caleb's just like let's riding it, Like I mean, he's just unbelievable. And then you had MPJ, man, Mike Penix, bro. Like he on that first drive especially, man, he was like a surgeon out there, just dealing, and you knew it was a track meet right away. You knew, I mean, he completed 6 passes to 4 different receivers. Dylan Johnson ended up finishing that drive, but it was just like right when those first 2 drives like kicked off. Like you just looked at your buddies that you're next to and you're like, here we go, baby. Here we go.
I put that in the Discord. I was like, I took the little the Samuel L. hold on to your butts from Jurassic Park. I put that in there. I go, we got a shootout, boys, because it really was. And like what you said about Caleb Williams, we might have sacked him a few times. We should have had way more sacks. He's an amazing player. And what was equally amazing was watching Michael Penix stand right up to him and not try to just win the game himself. They took what came to them, and as a result, we were able to win a game a different way. Izzo, what did you think about the versatility and what we did, especially offensively, to win this game?
I think the offensive line domination allowed you to like change the entire pace of how we typically operate as an offense. Like,
oh yeah,
Bear Alexander is a great defensive player. He had some great plays. There's one where he broke through and I either had a tackle for loss or a sack, but I remember standing there and just being like, okay, that is what they're talking about with him.
Oh yeah.
Outside of that play, it was pure domination. We did whatever we wanted and we gassed them. I'm not going to pretend like I said I was nervous. I mean, this what was it? 63 points scored in the first half. Highest scoring half between 2 Pac-12 teams since the year 2000. Like that's nuts. And that's what with Caleb Williams, like he's just so every single play is when he bounces outside of the pocket and he creates, it's like 7-8 yard drop back or 7-8 second drop back. It's like you're just hold, what we have, with our deficiencies at times in the secondary, and you're just like waiting for something to just pop and it's a touchdown. So was a nerve-wracking game for sure. But to answer your question, I love what we did. I love that, we were calling for change of pace and things like that with Will Nixon and those different types of things, and we got shut up on that, man. 256 yards, like just down their throat. Like, I love it, man. I'm glad.
Well, and also Nixon did get more carries and more touches than he normally gets, and that was nice to see. When you were talking about the offensive line, who I think was a real difference maker was Julius Buelow. He had a hell of a game. He was mauling in the run game. Same thing with Kalepo. I thought they both played really, really well. A lot better than they played last week. I thought the interior played a lot better than they did last week. Let's stick with this offense and let's talk about the running game a little bit, because all year people have been saying, hey, we're one-dimensional, even though I know Dylan Johnson has a couple, or at least 100-yard game, but a bunch that were 90, 84, somewhere around there. We really showed we could win a game with our running game. Noah, when you were watching what we did in the running game, what impressed you the most?
Yeah, I mean, at a high level, what impressed me the most about the run game? We use the run game to answer back almost every single drive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we haven't really been able to do a ton. You saw in the Oregon game a little bit. We could answer, a score with the running game. But a lot of other games, it's been our passing game that's been our answer. But being able to, like, run off tackle, run counter, run the toss crack all night. And that's what I want to highlight for a second is the toss crack. We ran that. We ran to the boundary side with a bunch formation. We would about two of the five plays, we'd put one of those bunch formation guys in motion, and we would run the toss crack where one of the tackles or guards would get up into the second level, and then who would come up and just absolutely maul cats is Parker Brailsford. Dude, he was getting 10 yards down the field before he even had his first contact, and that allowed the toss crack to go 7 to Nixon, 7 to Tybo, 11 to DJ, 11 to DJ again, and then the 53 hammer that took us all the way down with about 8 minutes to go in the game, where Kalen Bullock, number 7 for USC, I think had to run him down. But it just showed that Ryan Grubb probably saw that in film and said, oh, we about to have a field day with this. And we just kept going back to the locker, go back to the well with it, man. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful thing to see.
Parker got Pac-12 lineman of the week this week, didn't he? I thought I saw something like that on Twitter, because he had a really, really big game. And I'll tell you what, for as bad as the interior offensive line had looked in the last like maybe 2-3 weeks, they looked like they'd heard all the criticism and they came out and they shut people up, because they took a guy like Bryant, and he did have a play here or there, but for the most part, he was quiet. And our offense, I mean, it just moved. We were able to answer everything and do it in different ways. When we needed a long drive, we were able to get that long drive. Sticking with the offense, and Izzo, I'm going to hit you with this one. How do you think Michael Penix did, especially being that this was a Heisman showdown? Now, I know that Caleb had more yards and more throwing touchdowns. Actually, he had more touchdowns in general because he ran for one as well. But Penix still had 3 touchdowns in the game. So how do you think this fares moving forward in the Heisman race?
I thought it was great for him. I thought the interception that happened, I'm not horribly mad at it. Tipped that guy, we called it out before this game started. They got some lengthy linebackers, and that kid in particular is 6'6". So I'm not horribly mad at that. He got faced with some pressure. Like the one part of the offensive line that didn't grade out super well was the pass protect, and Mike was on the run a little bit. And I thought, obviously you've got the throw to Culp. That thing was a thing of beauty. I mean,
it really was.
There's no room for error on that throw. You're running to your left. You're faced up on a sideline. You've had the ball for 5-6 seconds already.
Mm-hmm.
The routes have finished, and Culp is at the very tail end of his, and he has very little separation. You have to throw that thing on a line, get it to Culp, and Culp pressed that thing up against his helmet, held on. Have we seen that this year, by the way? Between him and Polk, just like strong hands holding on to something that they shouldn't. I mean, it was fantastic. But Mike, I thought helped. You're on another national stage again. Like you said, you've got McAfee, calling out the game and stuff like that. 9 games in a row, Mike has over 250 yards. I thought he did exactly what he needed to do, given that the game script called for us to let Dylan Johnson and the offensive line do their thing. So I thought it was a great game for Mike. It's fun to feel like, hey, how, have to debate whether or not this game was good when he throws for 3 touchdowns and 256. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a good thing to have. That's a good thing to happen. And we're right for bringing it up.
It is. And we got to, we got to give props to Culp. I mean, somebody who in the past, I definitely thought he had stone hands for a long time. And it looks like all that hard work is finally paid off. And his hands are catching up to his athleticism because he's always had the physical tools to do it. Now he looks like a big time tight end and like somebody we can rely on because it didn't get much bigger than that catch. That catch was huge and we needed it because when you're going blow for blow with a team like USC, the first person that blinks is that's the team that ends up losing. And they saved the day. I mean, I think that was a 3rd and long, or it was 3rd or 4th down. What was that when they had to score?
It was 3rd and 18. And if you remember that play before, I got a fun little thing I saw on the film when I was watching this. On the play before, that's when Troy Foetanu got his helmet knocked off. And I didn't know this rule. When you get your helmet knocked off, you can stay engaged to that guy, but you can't go continue to block downfield. So that's why it went from, I think, 2nd and like 12 or whatever it was, or, something like that, to all the way back to 2nd and 18 because he got like a personal, or 2nd and 7 to all the way to 3rd and 18. And, it was interesting on that play before. So that happened on 1st down. And then I think it was the 2nd down. You know who flipped over to the left tackle? Roger Rosengarten.
Did he really?
He did. And so in my mind, I was thinking, like, did we just get a little preview of next year? Yeah.
You know what? If he's going to play left tackle, I can live with it because I love the way he pass blocks. Like Rosengarten is good. He's a really, really good, really good tackle. And if he's the guy that's going to take Botanu's place, I can dig it. I don't like that rule in general. Like giving somebody a 15-yard penalty after they get their helmet ripped off by somebody else and not get, they should at least be offsetting penalties to put us back where we're stuck in a 3rd and 18. I thought was, I don't know. It just seems like the rule is kind of sideways. You know what I'm saying?
Like just to wrap up the thought on Culp here, we'd always heard, and maybe this is just me because I've been a huge Culp believer for the last like 3 years, but for me, like it seems like he has had more big catches than I can remember him having drops now. Like I feel like he's eclipsed that to where over the last 2 years, there's been like 3 or 4 plays that stick out in my mind where he had to have strong hands. You think about the Arizona catch on the sideline, he's diving backwards. You've got this one, you've got a couple, and I'm just pulling off the top of my head. You've got a couple where he, after the catches, leaped the guy last year. I think it's time we absolutely just bury any sort of narrative that his hands aren't where they need to be. Like that's done, man. He's going far beyond the call at this point.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I think, like I said, it felt good to see our offense really hitting on all 8s and doing it in different ways. Like people that were calling, like it was crazy listening to people call for Grubb's head over after last week or the week before, and I was like, come on, guys. I mean, a bad game here or there, we still are winning. Like you don't call for somebody's head there. Now let's switch to the other side of the ball because the defense definitely had its fair share of head scratching moments. Whether it's the secondary, whether it was some bad tackling. The thing I wanted to actually jump into most was my biggest critique of the defense was I didn't like the position changes. Mish moving back to safety, Jabbar moving into nickel, I thought that hurt us, especially where we needed it the most, and that was in the lateral game where, like, hey, if they're throwing the bubble screens and stuff to the wide receiver, or when it came to Caleb Williams doing his little read options and then busting out to the he'd take the ball and run out to the outside. Mish is built for that. That's what Mish does best. And I saw Jabbar trying. I mean, he went in there and he stuck his head in there a few times, but Mish is like just a better tackler than anybody else on that secondary. And him being all the way in the back, I think also left his weaknesses exposed, which is, I think, his speed down the field. I don't know if I would have done that. What did you guys think about those moves?
Yeah, to me, those are health moves, right? I mean, I think if you have CamFab back full, right? So if you notice, CamFab played in some of the red zone type defense, because I think that, he didn't have to be as quick or elusive, right, when he was playing, the safety. But I'm sure the coaches want Mish up in that Husky role, because that's what he's been so successful at. And you see it. I mean, Jabbar's not really built to be that, inside nickel, safety Husky corner. We talk about that, I mean, he's built for the outside, built for one-on-one. But I think your point is 100% valid, man. I mean, I like Mish where he is. The two biggest, position change on the defensive side, Dom Hampton and Mish, in my opinion, have kind of what's propelled UW's defense to be better than it was last year. Yep. And so I think your point's like extremely valid and spot on, man. And it's something that I definitely I talk about it a little bit later on, but it's like the health of our defense is affecting us a little bit, and getting those guys back is going to be huge. And here's the other thing too. We tried to bring Nunley in, and he only had a couple of days of practice, and so you see, he has a really, really bad angle when he tries to come up and make a tackle. And I think the coaches kind of realize that, I just don't know if he's got his game speed or his reps back to keep him in there. And so then you see Mish go right back. They pulled Mish from the Husky position, put him right back into the free safety position. And that's kind of the way the rest of the game stayed.
Yeah. Well, Izzo, what do you think?
No, I got nothing to add there. Yeah, I noticed a couple things with Nunley as well, where the health is definitely demanding some of these changes. So I totally agree.
Yeah, I saw Nunley get beat also on one of the it was a pass play back of the end zone. He was supposed to be coming over to help, and he ended up just not making the play. It's what it ended up. The ball skills just weren't there. Where I felt like earlier in the season when he was playing, we did see that. How did you guys? I was in the Discord a bunch during the game, and everybody was calling for morale in Inge's heads when it came to what the defense has done. And I mean, the last couple of weeks, especially against Stanford and USC, there was some head scratching things that happened defensively. Now, is that more on the players, or do you blame the coaches, or is it a little bit of both?
I think that you should know by now kind of what, looking at this defense, like what your personnel has and what this scheme is. Like, that this is bend don't break. Like we've talked about this endlessly. And so like one thing is that when you're, watching fans react live to plays as they happen, you're not going to get a read. Like, even a lot of those guys afterwards are like, yeah, I didn't really mean that, heat of the moment, like, and then put it in writing, and then it's like, anyways. But I just think that you should know understand the context of the injuries, the roster makeup, the scheme, and that you're playing against Caleb Williams, and that there's multiple sack opportunities where if you're literally playing anybody else, that Trice has 2 sacks, and you just got to understand that you're playing Caleb Williams. I mean, I don't have another way to put it. Like, there's some context to be added there versus like fire Coach Inge, fire Coach Morrell. Like, do you really want that right now?
Yeah, we're 9-0.
So
Noah, is there anything that you saw in the scheme that made you feel like things could be different, or do you think it's just a matter of the opponent that we were playing?
The opponent is definitely probably 1A for me, and 1B is our health. I know it's kind of what everyone's probably talking about, but I just don't think that people realize how big of a stalwart that Thule really is for us.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
he was on a pitch count too.
Yep. Again, and he demands a double team. He demands a presence in the interior. It allows our linebackers to run free, allows them to run sideline to sideline, like those interior offensive linemen can't get up to them, and, allow those, Austin Jones to bounce for 11 for 127. I think if Thule's not at a pitch count, we shut that down a hell of a lot better than we did on Saturday. And then the other thing too is, dude, Mish isn't built, in my opinion, for free safety. He's built for Husky. He's built for that in the box safety. His open field tackling is elite. Jabbar's not built for that. And so, it's just, we just got to get healthy, man. That's the biggest thing I could say. And I mean, Caleb Williams, dude, he's everything, and he's everything that we thought he was, man. He's that good.
Yeah, just watch him. I mean, I don't know. We were at the game, we watched the replay, but dude, the guy is so fast. I mean, when you have the full context of the field, I guess you can see him moving faster than other players more easily. But there's a defensive lineman that I know in this conference that could chase him down. You know what I mean?
I know a lot of the criticism was happening on how long it took for the adjustments. An example was when you saw the read option that they kept doing. It was just gashing us in the first half. You would see like the end crash down on the running back, and then there would be nobody out there. Is that just dealing with the competition, or was that, or did we have some sort of flaw in our scheme that they saw that took us 3 quarters to eventually be able to fix?
I think that's just getting your eyes inside, like you need to get your eyes inside, keep on, like, what you're supposed to be, what are your responsibilities. And I think we were probably our linemen were and our second level linebackers were probably so worried about Caleb getting out that we tried to start making plays before he was really allowed to start scampering and running around. Could we made adjustments? Dude, yes. The answer is yes. We should have made adjustments. We should have, kept coaching up our guys on the sidelines. And hell, I don't know. We probably were, But I mean, to answer your question, I think it just comes down to when you have an elite passer and a runner in the same player like you have. I mean, it's really tough to contain that level of athleticism. I mean, you saw Jacob Bandis on that one play. I think. God. I mean, dude, he's 305
He
pounds.
tried, man. I give him love for the try.
And Caleb, it wasn't even, dude, Caleb's just out there like he's just having, hey, man, I'll take a Pepsi, like that. Yep. And then he just puts the wheels on. It's just like, gotcha.
He did the same thing to ZTF, and ZTF did the little tumble and flip.
Yeah. Dude, he did the same thing to Dom. That was the one I was talking about. Like, on that very first drive, dude, he put Dom in a little blender. And it's like, dude, Dom doesn't really get like shook. I mean,
no,
dude, Dom brings the wood, and he is like that remember me type hitter I always talk about. It's like, dude, Caleb's that special, man, and he's just I've said it like 5 times now, and it's just when if you want to talk about a bad scheme, if you really want to go here, if we want to break this down, why don't we talk about USC's defensive scheme?
Ooh.
I mean, there's a reason Alex Grinch got fired. There's a reason that, we're talking mid-game and right after the game, I literally said to my buddies, like, there's no way this guy's the coach tomorrow. There's just no way.
I'm so glad you put it in this context, Noah. That's a really good way to put it. It's like, think about what you could have. You could be USC.
Yeah, this is true. This is very true.
I mean, not that that's like, and this gets brought up all the time in the Discord, for instance, like, what's your level of expectation? Like, what made, that varies. I mean, this happened this morning in the Discord where we're bantering back and forth, and it's like, how could you, so there's a side that's, how could you be upset with where we're at right now? That's valid. And then, hey, my expectations are super high for this team. We have this window right now where we have this perfect mesh we need to win right now, and that's valid too. But at the same point, you shouldn't lose the sight of the overall context of what we have and our strengths on defense and things like that. And so
you know what? I'm going to continue. I'm going to piggyback on that strength of our defense, because I thought our pass rush was amazing. Dude, I thought Caleb Williams was under duress all night. He made some big plays, but that was because he made the plays. It wasn't because he wasn't under pressure. And I think Trice, ZTF, everybody was making plays. I mean, I even saw Himes in there. I saw 46. Why is my brain not working? Afoa?
Oh, Sakai.
Did he get hurt? I saw him leave the game. But I saw all those guys.
So when I rewatched that, and Izzo might know a little more about when I rewatched that, he was on a pass rush, and the lineman did like a little high and then cut him. And I think what I saw is it's not ankle, it's not like a knee, like blown knee or something. I think it was like either helmet to knee or like shoulder pad to knee, and his like knee was kind of like shocked. Like when you get hit on the knee. That's at least what I saw when I rewatched it. I watched it a couple of times. That's what it looked like to me. Will he be a little like banged up per se come this week? I don't know. Maybe the answer is yes. But I mean, like, I don't think it's like a structural problem. At least what I saw. So
I would prefer that.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this, and Noah, you in particular, and I don't know if you dove in this close, but when you watched our pass rush, because I agree with Mike, I think our pass rush played fantastic. Do you think that is more of a product of USC's offensive line being that bad? Because we have heard they've been very bad this year. Do you give more credence to that? Because if let's say USC's offensive line is middle of the road, I'm pretty enthused by the level of play from the edge depth. Like Voy had a great game. And a lot of these, Sakai had a great game. CTF had a great game. Trice had a great game. So now you got 4 guys right there. What do you think about that, Noah?
Yeah, I mean, let's call a spade. They've given up 27 sacks this year to maybe the most elusive quarterback in the country. I mean, it gets out of everything. So yeah, I don't think their offensive line is that strong. Do you want to know what I think it does attest to of our defensive line, especially with where we are with like the depth of our edge room and the guys we bring in a rotation, especially pass rushes? We're in better shape than USC is, big time. They were so freaking tired by the end of that game. Totally. And we just kept coming at them. We kept coming at them. And I think that's why, if you look, going into the third quarter, it was 42-42. And by the end of the game, it was 52-42. They had 3 possessions in that fourth quarter, and they didn't score. Dude, those guys were tired. We were better shape than they were. That's a fact.
Right. And you know what? To your point, especially about the edges, I saw that they had moved Voy inside, and Voy, I thought, had a lot more success rushing inside than he has had all season rushing outside. And I think you're going to see a lot more of him, especially on passing downs, rushing from up the middle.
No, Mike, they might be listening to our podcast.
Yeah. I assume that I think you've talked about this before, but that's a leverage thing for him, right? And why he might be able to be more effective on the inside, because I liked the move. I know there was a lot of buzz about the move for him to go outside, just from like the hype that we knew about Voy and him as a pass rusher. But do you kind of see him 3 technique, like, 2 tech, like in there being more effective because he can lay down leverage on on a guard or a center versus having to get crafty with a tackle outside? Or what's your thought?
Yeah, I mean, I just think, especially when you start running like I think it was after game 5 where we really saw like the uptick of us running like a lot of like more stunts on the D line. I think there's no question. I mean, Voy's not this 6'5" twitchy edge that's going to get on the other side of a tackle. I mean, what he's usually going to do is, a dip and rip, get underneath a guard, dip and rip, get inside a center and try to make a move off of that. I mean, I think if you're really going to see an impact of, where he can start, putting some stats up on the, sacks and pressures, it's, in my opinion, is always going to be on the inside for him.
Okay. Well, I agree. I think you're right. I think we're starting to see it too. let's talk about some of our standout players, because I think that there's a lot to choose from. We'll start on the offensive side of the ball. Izzo, who was one of your standout players for this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to go Dylan Johnson, right? Like, I think he had the fifth most rushing yards of any UW running back in this game. 4 touchdowns. The last time that was done was Miles Gaskin in 2017, I believe, in the Apple Cup.
Good company to be part of.
Yeah, I mean, hit that in the offensive line. Like, I tweeted this out. Like, it was the first time I've sat directly behind the field goal posts in a while, and you got to see the run gaps open. I mean, they, as Noah said, when USC's defensive line got gassed, I mean, they literally did whatever they wanted to. And that, I mean, if I was USC fan, talking about stars and recruiting and stuff like that, I would be seriously embarrassed. Like, that was so bad. And it doesn't matter. Lofa talked about it. Some of that's on Alex Grinch for sure, to have your players' mind right. But they were just, I mean, some of that's got to be on personnel too. So
they were bad.
It was bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to the offensive line. I'm going to give it to the running back. And, Parker Brailsford has to get called out because, man, he like we talked about, he got put one-on-one situations with Bear Alexander as what is he, 19, 20?
Mm-hmm.
He handled himself, man, like straight up. The goal line push for Penix when he scored, like, Brailsford's right in there. That pull on that, what looked to be, and I don't know if you guys remember this. Do you remember? I think it was a pitch, or it was either a pitch or a toss to Dylan Johnson, and he was way behind the line of scrimmage, and it kind of looked from the side, from the camera view, that it was going to be, if somebody didn't block, that was going to be a 6-yard loss, and Dylan Johnson broke it for 50 yards.
Yep.
And, so you just got to give it to all the tight ends, all the offensive line, just for the blocking. So pass rush is my player of the game.
Dirtman.
Sorry, you're out. There are rushing attack.
Yeah. Noah?
Yeah, so we always kind of have like highlight the standout players. And I wanted to like highlight a couple plays. And we kind of hit it already, but dude, is that 3rd and 18 to Devin Cope in the end zone? Is that like the epitome of like a Heisman moment for Mike Penix?
100% it is.
Yep. I mean, the other one, and it's not about UW, it's actually about USC. But that like jet sweep return flea flicker that they ran with Zachariah Branch back to Caleb. I'm watching that, and then I'm watching the replay on the screen, and I'm like, wait, was that planned, or is that like a broken play? And then when I went and watched the replay today, like that was their plan. Like that was maybe one of the most creative, like filthy plays with those elite athletes I've seen that in like a long time, man. That was like an awesome play.
If he doesn't hand the ball off on that handoff, by the way, that's an illegal play, right? That's 2 passes. So he has to put that ball.
Yeah, it'd be a forward pass if he'd done that.
Yep, exactly. Yes.
But I haven't seen that before either.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Are you giving an offensive game ball right now to USC for that?
I'm only giving it to Lincoln Riley or whoever calls that stupid play. I mean, it wasn't stupid; it was amazing. I'm giving one ball to them for that. That was so cool.
For me, I'm gonna. There's 2 guys I'm gonna give it to on the offense. One is Julius Buelow. I thought like him being back in the lineup, it had a noticeable difference on what we could do. And in watching him pull and make big blocks in the run game was big. And then Culp for the plays that he made. The catch was so huge, and I feel like it made up for all those things that people were saying about in the last 4 years or 5 years, however long he's been here, where he got that whole stone hands persona put up on him. So Let's switch to the defensive side of the ball. And Noah, I'll stay with you on this one. Who gets your game ball on the defensive side, or your play if you want to do a play?
Sure. I'm gonna go back to player here. I'm gonna go with I think ZTF is easy because all the emotional that he had, but I'm gonna go with Dom Hampton.
Okay.
And for one reason and one reason only, man. He just brings a level of physicality to our defense that I think is truly unmatched. I just think that the way he's a tone setter, and I think it feeds like the energy and the vibes with the rest of the players. They see Dom make a big hit, then Thaddeus Dixon wants to make a big hit. You see Dom make a big hit, and then Raylan Goforth is trying to take out one of his ex teammates. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just a tone. He's a tone setting type player, and so for me, man, he's gonna get my death row dog sticker today. So
yeah, let me ask this: Do you think Dom's got a future in the NFL?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially in the right scheme. Like,
last year he ran a 4.4 at our little Husky
at the pro day.
At
the Husky pro day. I mean, put Dom in the right scheme. Put him in like Buffalo Bills. Put him in like Pittsburgh.
Seattle Seahawks.
I mean, sure. Yeah. I mean,
playing that Jamal Adams.
Yeah, I mean, I would love the Jamal Adams role. Jamal's a little bit better probably on like pass rush or getting it inside the box. But I mean, like, dude, Dom's truly playing in his right position, and I only think that he's going to get better. And I just that's why, man. Like I said, I think ZTF does it get any bigger than ZTF strip fumble? But I mean, it probably doesn't. But I mean, my death row dog sticker goes to Dom Hampton today.
What's funny is I remember me and Hood on Twitter would talk about Dom the last 2 years before waiting for him to pop, and he finally did, because I think what you said about him being in the position is right.
And if he gets a combine invite too, that's going to be big for him for the same reasons you guys are mentioning.
Yep, because he all his measurables are really, really amazing, and now he's matching that on the field. Izzo, who's gets your game ball on defense?
Yeah, I mean, you have to give one to ZTF, but it's just for the sake of conversation, obviously so freaking happy for him. Herbie gave him the number one player of the week for this week. Tip of the cap to you, Herbie. I know the relationship during the Chris Peterson time was a little ruffled, and him giving him that game ball and the number one spot for him puts him back in my good graces, at least, because he was but I'm gonna go with Voight Tanufi, because you got asked to play a role that you hadn't played this year in a massive game, and that he came up so clutch in that play. We absolutely needed that sack in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
I mean, that might be, it's arguably the play of the game, because of the context of where things were at that point. But he had good pressure for all of his snaps. Like, and again, this is against USC's offensive line. That's not lost on me. But I thought you're not a starter. You're being brought in. You've tossed around to different positions throughout the years that you've been here, and he answered the call in a big spot. And I loved his energy on the sack. So I'm going to give it to him. And I'm going to give a little bit of a tip of a cap here to Thaddeus Dixon as well, because he's another player that was asked to do some things that he hadn't typically been done, and coming off the bench and lots of moving parts. So I liked what I saw from Thaddeus as well. Thought he stepped up.
I think I'm going to go with the defensive line as a whole, because I think that pass rush was there all day. And while they might have been playing against an offensive line that is mediocre, they were playing against maybe the best quarterback in college football, if you're not named Michael Penix Jr. And they would have, against any other quarterback, they have 7 or 8 sacks because they were in the backfield all night causing problems. Next, I want to get into the areas where we think we can improve. We kind of touched on a couple of these things, but Izzo, staying with you, after watching this game, just like every game we've seen this year, we haven't played a perfect game yet. So there's always places for improvement and places where we're scratching our head. Where's a place where you'd like to see some improvement from the Dogs?
I'll start on the offensive side just because I want to get through it. Because, I mean, we got to be so nitpicky to have something that we want to, like we talked about, we're already getting nitpicky with wanting change of pace in the run game. Like, if you think about the overall context, I mean, if your biggest problem is that you're demanding your second string running back to be getting more carries or third string running back to get more carries, then things are going pretty well for you. And so the only thing that I could think of is that, and it's hard to call out in this game because Kolb had such a big game. Cuevas had a great game too. I think he had 1 or 2 catches. I think, I really like that Mike trusted Devin in the end zone on that play. And maybe the play demanded it because he was the last guy, he's the last option open in the end zone. But I would like to see, more. Your tight ends have been reliable, so I would like to see them schemed up a little bit more, given that Jalen's out and you've got to get those targets to somebody else. So I think if I got to get nitpicky with what I want to see as an area improvement for the offense, I'll go with getting the tight ends more touches, I guess.
Okay, Noah, what about you? And we'll go to the offense defense. So let's stick with offense. Noah, what do you think?
Yeah. One thing I've mentioned in previous podcasts is no teams have actually really shut down our offense. We haven't scored, the highest amount in all these games. Like the Arizona State game is really the only outlier. But no one's really shut us down. And once again, USC surely didn't shut us down. But the biggest thing I want to see is our red zone turnovers just need to kind of just take a chill a little bit. I think it's our 4th in the last 3 games. And now you go back and watch that play. They reviewed it on they showed the 22 angle or, the back angle from it. They showed the front angle from it. And it's like, is that one of those plays that you just kind of look at number 18, Gentry, 6'6", 215, rangy, like Izzo said, we talked about it in the pod. It's like, or in the previous pod, it's like, you just tip your hat to him and say, hey, kid, it's a hell of a play. Because in all honesty, where that ball is, that thing's put out where only Jack Westover can catch it. And that's a touchdown laydown. I mean, that's a tutty. And I mean, great play, man. But yeah, that's where I'd want to see. Red zone turnovers, you need to clean that up a little bit.
All right, I got one for both of you guys, and tell me what you think about this. With Jalen McMillan being out, and I know he's getting a second opinion on his knee from one of the Seahawk doctors coming up, and it seems like the trust that Penix has in the other receivers isn't as high. To counter that, what I would suggest is we have 2 really dynamic backs in Tybo Rogers and Nixon. I would love to see them not just out in the flat, but just in those little under routes where they're within 5 yards, where they're maybe both of them coming out of the backfield at the same time. And let me see a linebacker try to cover them, because I don't see a linebacker that's going to be able to cover either 2 of them. And I think if they're going to be pushing guys, 15, 20 yards back to keep the top on us, let's get the ball in our playmakers' hands and see what they can do against linebackers and safeties that maybe are not as athletic. That's what I think.
I think it's a good point. So much so that I think they kind of tried to do it a couple times in this game, if I remember correctly. There's a couple passes that were, I believe Nixon was drawn up for a pass. It was either him or Tybo in the but it wasn't it was like their screens or behind the line of scrimmage. I'll have to go.
Yeah, Tybo had 1 for 15. Nixon had 1 for 6, and Dylan had 2 for 11. Now, I don't know how many targets they had, though. They may have had more targets than that.
I think you have a good point, to the point that I think that they actually are given they only have so many plays in a game, they're trying to kind of get that way. But your point's not lost. Like there's areas of opportunity where if we layer it down, where you take a deep shot, and Mike missed a couple deep shots in this game, where you might have been able to have the ball for longer, like time of possession, like you brought up. By getting,
he had a touchdown to Rome that he missed.
Yeah,
Oh, that touchdown to Giles, bro. I mean, it might not have been a
Yeah,
touchdown to Giles, but dude, that was a bomb, and that thing was like right on the fingertips, man.
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
And
I
so I
thought
don't,
Giles should have made that play. To be honest with you.
and maybe it's not on Mike as much, but yeah, those
Yeah.
those drops lower percentage.
All right. No, I'm going to stick with you on this one. Let's go to the defensive side. What are some areas of improvements you can see there?
Yeah, I mean, we've hit this, and so I'm not gonna belabor the point, but getting healthy, man, is going to be so big for us. Getting Cam Fab back, getting Asa back. I know Asa won't play this week, but Misha Husky is such a pivotal role for us, and then getting Thule off his pitch count. But the other thing that I really wanted to touch and is one thing I saw that helped a little bit more this week is calling our blitzes at the proper time. I said this about Morel. It just looks like a lot of times he calls these blitzes, and it's like the offensive coordinator is just like right in front of him. Like, and so here comes the blitz here comes the corner blitz, and we just dump a little out to the leaking tight end or out to the running back. But where I want to say improvement, I want to say also a beautiful perfect call was on that Hail Mary right before half. If you noticed, Dom and Jabbar Muhammad were kind of covering the boundary wide receivers. They're about to run a Hail Mary, like 2 seconds left. Instead, they just bring those guys. They just walk them right up to the line of scrimmage, and we go. I know that those guys can't run 50 yards quicker than these guys can get to Caleb.
Okay,
and we sacked them.
Yeah.
And it was just a freaking sweet. It was a beautiful blitz because most people say, "Holy crap! Here comes this." Only rush 2, drop 9, rush 3, drop 8. Instead, we're like, "Dude, screw this. We're not letting this guy run around. We're just going to get his ass on the ground and move and go in up, 35-28."
that's real. I think I agree with you 100% on that. Izzo, what you think?
That was a really good call, by the way. No, I like that from a positive standpoint for sure. I think I mean, obviously against the run, like I thought that the linebackers were a little less disciplined in their gaps. And like I said, I had a unique vantage on this one, and so I could kind of see it. I just thought this was maybe the most down game for the linebacking core. That said, again, the context isn't lost. They're chasing around, Caleb Williams the whole time. So, yeah.
Yeah, and they're probably not going to see another quarterback like that till the Pac-12 championship. To be completely honest with you, they're not going to see anybody that's moving like that and doing those zone reads that Caleb was doing. And that's where I think we saw a lot of they were cheating up, trying to get into the gap quick enough to get the run. And then next thing you know, he's breaking around the side. And then when they pull back off of it, they're giving the ball and they're just breaking it up the middle. So I think you're right with that.
You're getting the best of every team. Like, you might point toward, well, what about the game where Caleb Williams threw 3 picks and 1 touchdown, yada, yada, against Arizona? Like, I'm not saying he's not going all out against Arizona, but he is 100% going all out in this game to the point where he's crying in the stands afterwards. So that's not lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, this game meant a lot to him, man. No
question. It did. And you know what? And that's why I didn't like what a lot of people have to say about Caleb, because they act like he doesn't care about this. Like he's just looking ahead. And I don't think it's like that at all. I think Caleb loves this and he wants to win. And you could see how much it hurt him not to be able to get a win. And I think that shouldn't be left unsaid.
The last thing I'll just say is, like, just the tackling in general. There was too many times where they broke 30-yard runs with backup running backs. Like, and I realize that they're pretty deep at running back, but that, we have to shore that up. We can't play. Bo Nix can run too. Assuming we're going to play them in the college, in the conference championship, we're going to have to contend with a speedy quarterback and good running backs again. And we've got to get this shored up. But to Noah's point, we got to get some guys healthy.
Yeah. My big critique for the defense and thing I would like to see change is stop leaving Elijah Jackson on an island. Not that he can't play the position, but give him some help over the top. And I think you're going to see him be far more effective playing under the receiver, where he can utilize his height and his ability to jump, as opposed to trying to chase these guys down, because that's just not his strength.
I was just gonna say this, and maybe Noah, you're gonna say the same thing. But I didn't realize it as we were watching the game, but it looked like on that touchdown that Elijah Jackson gave up that he just moved really slowly to that. Like, it seemed like the ball floated up there, and he could have closed the gap on that receiver on the touchdown on the far end. But having watched it back, dude, he got pushed off again.
Yeah.
And he made God. Again, but that was again another push off, and so. Yeah. I didn't see that during the game. And then I saw some tweets come out that were like, what is going on with Elijah Jackson? But I was like, that one, having watched it again, it was
It was
what I was gonna say really quick on that is, and I won't belabor this point, but you know who played so well that he might have like played himself into some more snaps is Thaddeus Dixon.
Yeah.
In the run game, played great. Pass deflections, played great. And you know what I was talking to one of the parents about this. You know what I think it is about Thaddeus Dixon is I think when he came over the first 6, 7, 8 games, I think the speed of Division I football was maybe just a lot for him to take in. It was just a lot. I mean, it's just fast and no practice. I don't care. No scrimmage can get you ready for that. But the last 2 weeks, I've just noticed that it seems like he's in his breaks, in his, flipping his hips and running. It just seems like the games that he's processing everything a lot quicker. So yeah. I think you'll see Thad kind of maybe get some more snaps.
He was, I think there was some flags that he was getting. Maybe it was some discipline stuff. And to your point, now that he's catching up to the game speed, I think when you look at him, it's very obvious he's like D1 NFL type body. He'll get it figured out.
I think the lumps that him and Jackson and them guys have taken this year are just going to be paid forward to next year when I think watch them both be elite when it comes down to it. Is there anything else you guys want to get on into this game before we move on? Anything else you guys want to bring up?
I do want to say something about the way that we run our offense. That is, I didn't really pick up on it until this game, and maybe I should have. It might be obvious to some people, but the way that we come out and put it on teams right away allows us to hold a momentum in the offense for the entire game. And I mean,
that's one of DeBoer's keys to the game. Every week, start fast.
Exactly, start fast. But what I'm seeing for the first time is just how important that can be. Basis. I didn't realize, of course, you say it, it's get out on them early, but I didn't, we didn't even, I believe kicked off and gave up the first touchdown on this. And that didn't hold us back at all. We came right down the field, scored again, and it allowed our offense to get momentum and continue that momentum for the rest of the game.
Well, and when you look at the games where we don't do that, those are the games that we struggle. Arizona State, Stanford, I think even Arizona was the same way. And that Arizona win's looking better and better. See there, I saw they were ranked in the AP.
What were they ranked?
Was it 20? Hold up, let me tell you right now.
I bet you're 22 right now, but they will end up being. But I was gonna say it's funny because in my notes, Mike, you'll see it written down in here. I talk about I said this is the week
23
Arizona. 20. Yeah, this is the week Arizona enters the top 25. College football rankings come out tomorrow. So I didn't know they made an AP. So no, I mean look at their resume, look at their wins, dude. I mean, But you're spot on. That Arizona win is looking nicer and
better. Especially since the USC dropped out of the top 25. Even though I tell you what, when they beat Oregon next week,
let's go.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I hope it does.
One more game, Caleb.
Is that a hot take, brother?
It's a hot take, brother. All right. Before we move on, I just want to say, hey, Dubbed Up is brought to you by Auto Gang. Go check out autogang.com for all your Seattle hip hop shows, music, videos, everything that's coming out. Also, make sure you join the Discord. The link is down in the bio. All the best information for Husky sports and specifically football and basketball comes out in the Discord first. If you want to know about what recruit is interested in coming here or who we might be looking at in the portal or something like that, it's all going to hit the Discord first. The link is down in the bio. Do yourself a favor. It's free to join, but for $8 a month, you can get into that VIP. And the VIP is literally that. It's got all the privileged information you want to know about Husky sports. So let's take a look at week 6, or I guess not week 6. It's the next week, week
10,
11.
Week 10. Or 11, yeah, week 11.
Yeah, I think it's week 11. This is another big one. Like I said, we're in the thick of this gauntlet that we've been talking about all season long. USC, and now we have Utah. Utah is ranked 18th in the country. I feel like they have a little bit of a Jekyll and Hyde to them. Sometimes they come out and they look ridiculously good, but we've seen a couple games where they just got stepped on. Let's dive into it, fellas. What do we think about this game coming up with Utah? We got them at home, but this is not going to be an easy task. Whittingham is never an easy task, but we are 9-3 against them. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, man. The biggest thing I'll say is I think you saw a tweet today from Courtney Morgan that said, like, we're going to need you Saturday. And that stadium's going to be electric again. 12:30 on Fox, right? So another primetime game. I don't know what Utah's going to be ranked tomorrow, but it's going to be 15. It's going to be 16. Right in that ballpark. I think this past week they were 18. UW hopefully is in the top 4. I mean, this is another primetime stage, for Mike Penix and these boys to be ready to go. And like
Utah's
you said, Mike,
13 in the AP right now.
13. Geez, so they
13
jumped from
in the AP.
They jumped from 18 to 13. Wow. So
yep. Oregon State jumped to 12. Yeah,
man, they love that pack. They love the Pac-12, man.
You have to.
Nice.
You have to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Dude, Kyle Whittingham's going to get these guys ready, man. And he always gets them ready. He had some pretty high regard and big boy compliments for UW in his presser this morning. Says the best offensive line he's seen all year.
Oh wow!
And he said, "What's that?"
So who does that include?
Yeah, you know who it includes. But he also said that it's like the most elite offense, which I don't think that's like surprising. But Kyle Whittingham is one of the I think he's the Don, right? He's the Don of the Pac-12 coaches, and he'll have these boys ready to go. What you got, Izzo?
Oh, man, I think we all know what we're getting. Like, we're going to be facing probably the best defense that we've played this year. The interesting thing about this game is whether or not Jaquindon Jackson's going to be playing for it, because I think that's a big asset to their offense. When I watched their game today, I noticed that their receivers had a really good game against Arizona State. Their quarterback looks better. I think we all know like what their quarterback situation is. I think they are progressing underneath Kyle Whittingham. Am I afraid of them compared to Caleb Williams or the other quarterbacks that we've played this year? Absolutely not. That said, this is obviously an extremely important game, and this is an extremely well-coached team. And especially on the defensive side, like, they're disciplined and they are hard-nosed, and they're going to give our offensive line a real test. And you absolutely need to show out for this game. Like, this is not a foregone win. This is a absolute, we have to be on top of our stuff here because, I think Whittingham said this, we're going to put up points on their defense. At the end of the day, do I believe that they can keep up with us? No. But have we seen from our offense them slip up at times and turn the ball over in the red zone too much? Sure. Can this be that game that slips through? Maybe. So that's enough for me to get up for it.
Yep. Well, this is also the fact. They're the defending champs of the Pac-12, 2 years running. We have to take out the champs to be the champs. And I don't think, we haven't beat them since 2020, if I'm not mistaken. We didn't play them last year. We lost to them in 2021. We lost to everybody in 2021.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks for bringing it up.
It is what it is. But this is our chance to really, like I said, not only just take a game from the defending champ, but also this is a big time ranked team, and for our resume as we move forward, these next 2 weeks are going to really, really matter because we need those wins to show the committee that, hey, we deserve to be in that top 4 over a Florida State or a Michigan who haven't played anybody. You know what I'm saying? And I think wins like this, especially if we can get one of these wins to be like a real definitive win where we go in there and we make them look bad, because the truth is their quarterback is very hot and cold. He's somebody that our defense should be able to take advantage of. If we can get the rush that we've been getting, we should be able to take him to the ground. If we can really put it on Utah, that's going to really change what the voters think about UW. And it's really, really important because this is when the championships are won. They're won in November. And it doesn't get much bigger than that.
They don't turn the ball over very often. They also have a tendency to cause turnovers, which draw up the trap. That's the trap. So, yeah, I just think we, I don't want to see us take that step down again like we did, and obviously there's a flu going around. Like there's a lot of reasons why we weren't playing with the same intensity and things like that for those 2 games, Stanford and ASU.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do that this time, straight up. And I know we got them at home, but this is a disciplined team. So, and I might be stating the obvious, but I just want to make sure that that's captured by our fan base, that this is not we didn't just go and take care of the biggest team that we need to worry about. There's an argument to suggest that Utah might be a more difficult opponent depending upon how you look at matchups.
Yep. This is so I'm contending that, if we can really stop the run, which we struggled to do against USC, and they have to put the ball in their quarterback's hands, I think that's where we have the best shot. Noah, when you look at this their quarterback, Barnes he's only got a 58.9 completion percentage, 8 TDs to 5 interceptions. I know they have Nate Johnson, who is only completing 54% of his passes, but he can run the ball. Do you see any way, if we make their quarterback beat us, that they can beat UW?
No, I look at Bryson Barnes, and I mean he's very limited in regards to his arm talent. He makes a lot of intermediate passes, and they really want to run the ball, and that's kind of what they want to establish early. They want to establish it often. They run the ball 64% of the time, and I think going back to Izzo's point, Jaquindon Jackson being out, I mean that's that could be really big for them. They remember what I think we've talked about this before. In one of our kind of looking at the Pac-12 slate, and picking doing our picks. But they had to bring in Sione Vaki off this. He's having to play that 2-way position. And now that they're down, if they're down, Jaquindon Jackson, sounds like he didn't play in the second half of that game. It's going to be tough for them to really establish that run. And because I really don't think, to answer your question, I don't think, what do they call him? The pig farmer, Bryson Barnes. Yeah. I think that's his big nicknames. I don't think that he can beat our team. I really don't, up from his arm.
Yeah. Izzo, what do you think?
I mean, I think is Vaki. So Sion Vaki, he's still 70-30 defense versus offense. So they're going to lean on him more on the defensive side. I thought I was seeing that he might have been out, but no, he's in for this game.
I feel like Vaki though is a change of pace, gadget guy. I don't think that you're going to give him 22 carries is what you know what I'm saying? I know they have the Jalen Glover one, who's getting quite a few carries too. But but I don't think you're going to bring in Vaki and be like, all right, big kid, you're going to go safety, and then you're going to go 15, 18 carries on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, no. Jackson is their guy, who he's averaging 5.3 yards a carry, but Vaki is averaging 8.1 when he does play. Now, granted, he's only got 30 carries on the whole season, so he is a gadget player. Let's say that he's a safety, right? If I'm not mistaken, he's not actually a running back.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he had that huge run for like 72 yards like 2 games
Yeah.
ago.
Yep.
So we all year we've said, can you score with us? This is not the team that you would say score, they can score with us. That was last week. That's why we were a little timid last week, is because that is do that. I just feel weird about this game. It's like I felt overly confident like 12 hours ago. At least I felt that way. And then I don't like that they got smacked at home and embarrassed by Oregon and then came back and just absolutely obliterated Arizona State. I don't like the feel of the way their momentum is heading with Coach Whittingham, but we'll see. Like football math on paper, there's no way they should win this. But,
then my question for you then is, so they have their big sack guy, I think his name's Elias or Ellis. He's got 11 and a half sacks this year.
Yeah.
How do you see him faring against our tackles? Because we have two of the best in college football, but that's going to be a matchup right there because they actually have a lot of sacks. As a team, they have 29 sacks as a team.
Do we know if he's isolated to one side? Do we know if it's a Roger assignment or a Troy assignment?
I am not sure. Noah, you have any ideas on that?
Yeah, for some reason, I have a feeling he usually sits on Troy's side most of the game.
Ooh, that's going to be a battle.
That is going to be a battle for sure. It's his toughest test, I think. Super long arms, definitely disruptive. You know, the fact that Dylan Johnson had a big game last week just gives you a little bit more confidence. But
what did on that, is it really quick? What did Coach Mark say or Grubb? They said like Dylan Johnson's like finally healthy, or like he's finally like where he's like 100% like ready to go now or something. And it's like, you don't think, like watching him play, he didn't look healthy, early on in the season.
100% agree. Yeah. So, oh man, there's just I just have a weird vibe about this game. I don't have anything else to say. I have a feeling it's going to be close.
Yeah. Agreed. I think that it's I don't know if the Oregon game was just a random game, just a bad game, but Utah always comes to play and they sneak up on, as a good team, they seem to always sneak up on other teams that are supposed to be better.
Right. Do we believe as a group here that UW's defense is better than Oregon State's?
So this is something that I've wondered for all year, because the amount of talent that Oregon State lost. Yeah, our defense is better. Our defense is better in certain positions for sure. If we're healthy, there's no question it's better.
I agree with that caveat.
Yeah,
I think that's
if we're healthy. Yeah, like, so if we can get Cam Fab back, I would say our defense is better.
Okay.
I think athlete for athlete, we are definitely better. I think the ability to put it all together, Oregon State might be able to do that better than us. So it's kind of a toss-up for me.
So they get, Utah scored 7 on defenses that I would say are comparable to ours. So
okay.
Maybe the key to this game is literally, health on the defensive side, and just, are you guys able to perform at the level that you need to perform at? Because if you do, then this team, we shouldn't be giving up more than 20 points in this game.
Go for it.
No, I was just saying, them losing Lander Barton in the run game, in run defense, hurts them a lot as well.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of their, kind of like how Dom's kind of our like tone setter. He's kind of their tone setter on the defense. I think they'll show a lot of pressure packages. They'll walk their linebackers up. But this is not the Utah team of old, where they were putting, cornerbacks and safeties into the NFL every year. It's not. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's not that defense. Their defensive line does have 24 and a half sacks. So if you're going to ask me, what do I think that they're going to try to do is, they think, in my opinion, I think Kyle Whittingham says, the only way we can truly be successful is if we can get Mike Penix with rushing 4 and dropping 7. That's like truly my opinion on this game. If they can get home with 4, which if you look, I don't know if anyone's really been able to get home with 4 yet. There's been some batted balls in the Oregon game, and there's I think a couple of batted balls, this past game, and there's
not
others,
with a
but
healthy flow. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, that's kind of my key to this game, in my opinion. If they can get home with 4, it could be a tight night. I'll say that.
What's your score prediction
right now? Right off the cut.
Sorry, Mike. It's still under.
I don't know. It's in Seattle. Another big thing to me. 42-20.
I'll tell you what. Utah better be praying for wind and rain and hellfire and brimstone, because the truth of the matter is they're going to have to hold UW to under 25 points for them to win this game. And besides that fluke game against Arizona State, I don't see anybody being able to hold them under 25. I don't see anybody being able to hold them under 30 points. I think they're going to be praying for weather and all that to be able to make that happen. Because
what's your score prediction, Mike?
If it's a regular fall day, I say 38-17, UW.
I like that. I think both of your guys' assessments is rooted in total logic. I have a hard time disagreeing with it, other than the simple fact of momentum. I'm gonna go 32-24 UW. Okay.
All right.
I think it's do something like that.
All right. Anything else we want to hit on with for the Utah preview before we move on?
Nope.
You guys good? All right. Like I said, Dubbed Up has a Discord it's what Dubbed Up is known for. Make sure you guys go join. The link is down in the bio. All the information that you want on UW Sports is in that Discord. The VIP is only $8 a month, and it's so well worth it, even though it is free to join. What we like to do with the Discord is we like to take questions from folks that are in the Discord that are chatting and all that, and we answer them here. So let's start with the questions. The first question from the Discord comes from Alex. His question is, how would you approach attacking Utah's defense if you're Washington's offense? No, you want to take that one?
Yeah, their biggest strength, like I said, is their defensive line. Create pressure, run some screens to kind of relieve that pressure. The other thing I kind of want to see is, and we did this a couple times in the USC game, I want to see us kind of run tempo a couple times. Get up there, don't let them sub. Dude, they got some big old hog mollies up front. But man, once you let them sub, they get their big boy, another rotation of big 330-pound bodies in. Dude, run some tempo, make them work a little bit, and if I would, I always say, like, if I was the offensive coordinator for the day, it's like, don't allow them to do what they want to do, right? And they're, like I said, biggest strength is their defensive line. Run some screens, relieve it, and then run some tempo so they can't sub on you.
I agree. Izzo, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, I would just add that I think we're going to have to do something differently on offense. I don't know what exactly that is. I think what Noah said is perfect. I think this is the team that's disciplined to where you can't rely solely on the RPO and like Mike looking off a guy, looking off a safety. He's an absolute expert at that, but you're going to have to do something different than what you've typically done. And with Barton out, this is the game for the tight ends, in my opinion. Let them fly. Get creative with the tight ends or the running backs. But I just want to see. I want to see Cuevas and Colt just get unleashed.
I agree.
Like, we know Westy too, but like I want to see what Cuevas has to offer. I want to see what Colt has to offer. I want to see them each get at least 3-4 targets in this game.
I'm going to build off your point because I think that you're 100% correct. I think we need to take advantage of our athletes because I think athlete for athlete, we're better than them. And I think if you see because I think the tight ends, the two that you just mentioned, are 100% correct. I think Moore actually could be put in that as well because he's a threat. But I think the three running backs that we have, I think those guys in space are going to be really, really hard for anybody to tackle. And I think that's where we could see a lot of the mismatches against Utah and really give them fits if we do that. All right. Like I said, we have a Discord. Link is in the bio. Also, make sure you go join the Twitter. There's lots of good conversation that happens on the Twitter as well. I told you it's free to join, but the VIPs only $8 a month, and all the information you want, all the inside information is there. All right, now we're going to go take a look to the national stage because there's some big games happening this weekend. And this is the best time of the year because the cream's kind of risen to the top, and now you're getting all those in-league matchups that are huge. Like we've been seeing them like USC and UW or my brain is farting. Who else did we see last week that was big?
LSU, Alabama.
OSU, Alabama. So this week we have a big one in the Big Ten, and I think Michigan's finally getting their first real test. Michigan is going to Beaver Stadium to play Penn State, who's ranked 11th in the country. Being on Twitter, I see a lot of people talk about Penn State not being able to do much against big-time opponents. I saw they had James Franklin's records against top 25 teams, and I think it was like 1-6 or something crazy like that. I don't remember completely. Noah, how are you seeing this game played out, and what do we have for the line on this game?
Yeah, Michigan minus 4.5 at Happy Valley with a total of 44.5. I'm big on Penn State plus 4.5 here.
Wow.
Do you think they're going to win though, or do you think they're just going to cover?
I think they get so. A lot of times, if I bet a underdog, so you're getting the points. In my opinion, you have to think they can win the game.
Okay.
So the big thing for me is Drew Ayler. He's a good player, man. The only game I've really watched where I really was trying to focus on him was the Ohio State game, and that game just wasn't one of his best games. The biggest stat that screams to me is he has 20 touchdowns to 1 interception, and if he can, the Penn State defense is real, and I think if they could kind of just shut down Michigan, which I know it's they haven't done it, but Michigan hasn't played a soul. Nope. And this will be a big test. Happy Valley, probably be a whiteout. That thing will be rocking. Give me Penn State in the upset. I like Penn State here. Yep.
That's a hot take right there, though.
Yeah, I should have put my glasses on.
That's a hot take right there. Izzo, what do you think?
I think that's a great assessment. I think there's only one defense that I could suggest is possibly better than Penn State's, and I think it's Michigan's, to be honest with you. I know they haven't played anybody, but dude, they just got some ballers. They're well coached. It's a cop-out because they're the favorite, but I think I'll take Michigan in that game.
Yeah, well, the one thing that worries me about Michigan is this: where's their head going to be at? I know they were able to, when Harbaugh was on his little suspension, they were able to win those games, but like we said, they didn't play anybody. Now ESPN just came out saying that the Big Ten is looking at imposing something upon them. What it is, we don't know, but they're not just letting this go, and so I wonder if that's going to play with their heads a little bit. I want to see Penn State win for the pure selfish reason. But
we need that.
we really do. I want to see if McCarthy is really what everybody says he is. I mean, like I said, we don't know until they play somebody real, and Penn State is somebody real. All right, the next game on the slate is Ole Miss going to Athens to play Georgia. All right, Noah, what is the line on this one, and who do you got?
Yeah, UGA minus 10.5, over under 58.5. losing Brock Bowers, I actually think might have come at the right time. And you're going to think that's an interesting take, but
you better get those glasses ready, buddy.
But what I'm getting them. What I think it's done is I think that it's allowed the other players on that team to have to step up and not rely on him so much. And so I just don't think Jackson Dart and Judkins can go into Sanford Stadium and win that game. I think that defense is too good. I just think there's too much talent. Now, ask me in a week or two when Georgia has to go to Tennessee, and my picks might start swinging a little bit. But give me one of my two boa constrictors in college football. It's Georgia. I don't know about the cover. I wouldn't bet the game probably anyways, but I'll take UGA to win.
Izzo, what you think?
I think this is UGA's biggest test. I just don't see them losing at home, though.
Me either.
You can't do it, man. You're Georgia. They're too good. I got UGA winning that game.
No, and also when does Lane Kiffin win the big game?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, do you believe in Dart? Are you guys Dart buyers or are you guys Dart sellers?
He's good. I mean, he's good. He's real good.
I'm a buyer, but
he's good.
It's the game they're going to win.
Okay.
I actually might like him more than Carson Beck.
Ooh. All right. All right, let's take a look towards the Pac-12 now. We got some interesting games on the slate. We have Stanford going to number 16 Oregon State. Actually, it's number 12 Oregon State according to the AP poll. Stanford played us really tough. We're starting to see that offense kind of show itself. And I know we've kind of questioned Oregon State's defense all year, that they're not what they were last year. Noah, what do we got for the line on this, and who do you got?
Yeah, this is a big line. Oregon State minus 21, over under 54.5. Games in Corvallis, Research Stadium. Man, you know what's interesting to me on this is I want to look at their schedule really quick, but I mean, have they actually have they beat teams by 21 points this year? I mean, they beat Cal, they beat Utah by 14, they beat Cal by 12, they beat UCLA by 14, they lost to Arizona, Colorado 26-19. I mean, I don't know, man. Oregon State down this road here, it doesn't really look as scary to me. I know it's at Research Stadium, but man, give me Stanford plus 21.
I totally agree with you. I think that's great logic. They seem to play with their opponent.
Yeah. I think they're going to win the game. I don't think they're covering 3 touchdowns, though. Because Stanford has been playing well. I mean, their record might not indicate it, but we saw them firsthand what they can do offensively. And I know Colorado saw them firsthand what they can do offensively. I think they're going to keep it a little bit closer than that.
I also think these Stanford players are playing for their portal. They're showing out a little bit. And there's a game plan for Stanford. I mean, they can just run the rock. I mean, they can try at least. We'll see. But yeah, I agree. I don't think Oregon State's defense is. Yeah, we've said it all year.
All right. The next game on the slate is new to the top 25, number 23 in the AP poll. Arizona going to Colorado, going to Boulder to play the Colorado Fighting Deion Sanders. No, they're going to play the Buffs, who are on a slide. They're 4-5 right now, licking their wounds a little bit. And Arizona's hot. No, what do we got for the line on that? And who are you picking?
Arizona minus 11 at Folsom Field in Boulder. Over under is 53.5. Dude,
the over might be the math on that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I just don't see Prime getting right, man. They just don't look good. Give me Arizona all day.
Same thing. Arizona to cover. Arizona's really good, man.
But tell me that over isn't going to be interesting to you guys, because the over seems like Both of them scoring 30 points seems pretty easy.
Somebody do the Stanford to cover and the Arizona Colorado over parlay might net you some nice bucks.
The only thing that I wonder is, like, I know it's in Boulder, right? Are they expecting? No, they're expecting 50-degree game time weather. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, yeah, it's kind of Mike, you might be onto something there. That total does look a little strange.
Well, look at it like this. Colorado's only scored under 30 points 3 times, and that was 26, 28, and 27 points. Yep. You know what I'm saying? They can score, and Arizona's been scoring.
Free money.
I think that over might be my hot take.
I like
it. Following that game is, I think, maybe the biggest game besides our game on the Pac-12 slate, and that is USC, who's now unranked, going to Autzen Stadium to play Oregon, I hate to say it, but Oregon's been a juggernaut lately. They have been unstoppable, but they hang 60 on Cal.
Yeah.
They've looked really, really good. But USC is going to be pissed, and if they're competitors and they got a new defensive coordinator now that Grinch is gone, how do we see this play out? Noah, what do we got on the line on that, and who you picking?
Dude, Oregon minus 16.5 seems wild to me. But what I actually love here is the over-under 73.5.
The over is what you like, right?
Love the over. Love the over in this. Yeah, the total 73.5. I'm smacking that all day. Even if Oregon kind of does what they've been doing, and let's say they hold them to 28, I mean, you don't think that they can get 40 or 42 or 45 or something like that against this team. I mean, at Autzen Stadium, I think 73.5 is an absolute lock city on this game. And give me USC and a freaking field goal to win it, baby.
You know what? I love wishful thinking. I'm there too. Izzo, what do you think?
I think the obvious caveat is if Caleb Williams plays. But I do think there is a bump that comes from you replacing the DC. Did you guys see that huddle where Alex Grinch?
I saw. Yeah,
I did.
Oh my God! It's like, dude.
Together on 3. Bye.
Actually, for him, dude.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I did see that.
Really clearly, like his whole defense just completely turning their back on him mid-game. Yeah, I mean, I got no different take than what Noah just said. I love the over/under. Obviously, love the over. If Caleb Williams plays, it's 16 points is too much in my opinion, but them playing at Autzen does impact their drive, their want for this game. So we'll see what happens. Is the offense going to lull and the defense picks up? Is that the math that we want to bet on? I wouldn't bet this game, to be honest, because there's too many like factors that could swing it massively in one direction or the other.
You know, it'd be crazy is if USC came out there and shocked the world and held Oregon to like 10 points. All right. The next game on the slate is the Battle of the Tryhards. Both unranked. we have Wazoo going to Berkeley to play Cal. Noah, what do we got for the line on this, and who you picking?
So the line's even, and the over/under is 59.5.
Noah's got the pencil out.
Yeah, I got the pencil out because I guess I just am so engulfed in UW, right? Dude, Wazoo's lost 5 straight games.
Yep. It's painful for them.
And then you hear Dickert come out on the presser and pretty much say, like, we're broke, we're poor, we don't have any food. The NIL and the transfer portal is going to come to, suck all our players away in like 27 days.
Yeah.
Dude, I got a funny feeling, as good of a coach as Dickert, supposedly is, dude, has he lost this like locker room and lost this team?
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
It's a shame too, because I think he's a good coach, but they're so checked out.
Bro, 5 weeks ago, I'm gonna look up this full
they're
team
ranked
schedule.
13th in the country.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, that's where I was going. 5 weeks ago, they're ranked 13th. They beat Oregon State 38-35.
Do you know what they're talking about on like national news? They're talking that, national pundits, ESPN, Fox, all that. They're saying Wisconsin's going to need it. They just beat Wisconsin 2 weeks ago. They're going to need a coach. He's going to be able to go to the Big Ten. Oh, Northwestern's going to be looking for a coach. Oh, Dickert's going to be able to go to the Big Ten. Now Dickert's saying, donors, please give us more money. We're broke. Like, I mean, it's just crazy in a 5-week window. Wazoo's gone from this like kind of hot ticket number 13 in the country to now we scored 10 points on Stanford and lost to Arizona State. And, it's like, I don't know. We got beat 44-6 by Arizona. Give me Cal. That's where I'm going. Give me Cal. I mean, I don't even care. Cal's not even good, but give me Cal. I just think he's lost that team.
It could be true. Izzo, you feeling the same way?
Same exact way. Nothing.
Yeah. Wazoo's a hard sell, man. Going all the way out to Pullman, you're literally in the middle of nowhere. And if you're not winning, why the hell am I out here playing football?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's hard to do. Final game before we get out of here. Arizona State going to the unranked UCLA Bruins. What do we got on the line and who you picking?
Yeah, 16-point spread. UCLA is favorite, over under 44.5. One thing I'm noticing with Arizona State is so they're actually not a bad team with Bourguet. Bourguet didn't really play in this game. I don't know if he got injured or what it was against Utah, Arizona State.
I saw that.
That Jack Conover kid was 5 for 22 for 41 yards. That was their quarterback.
That's terrible.
So
I saw the Bourguet didn't play.
Yeah, so it's really hard for me to like pick this game. Like, is Bourguet back? Is he not? I mean, I'm not so much saying that in the sense of like who's going to win, but like picking a spread. I don't really know. I don't
stay
really
away
care.
from it.
Yeah, UCLA was going to win. That's my pick.
Yeah,
but I'm kind of serious about Bourguet. Like, he's like that really kind of like very good game manager, and I think he kind of makes Arizona State a formidable team. You take him out of there, and they're the bottom feeders that we kind of thought they were.
He gives UW fits. I don't know how else to put it. He gives UW fits.
Yeah.
If he's gone after this year, I'll be happy, even though we're not going to see Arizona State forever. So
Bourguet's going to be at Wazoo next year, starting quarterback. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
In the Mountain West. Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. That's it, fellas. Before we get out of here, I want to say, man, we're 9-0. Staring down the top 4. Guys, can you believe this is where we're at? Can you believe in what 22 games under or 23 games under Kalen DeBoer, we've only lost twice?
That's insane, man.
This is crazy. I'm telling you, as a Husky fan, we could not have asked for anything more. We're right in the thick of it for a national championship. Think about that.
It's unreal, man. It's literally unreal. 20. I think you're right, man. 20-2 or whatever he is in his first 22, whatever it is, 23 games. It's like, dude, it's exactly what we it's exactly what we hoped for. But coming off that 4-8 year with Jimmy Lake and that disaster, and I want to say one thing really quick before I get out of here. What do you think Jen Cohen thought wearing her red and black on the sidelines after?
It's been like, damn, I don't think this is going to work. I need to go back. I need to get some purple on.
I think she's going back for LA flat. Just like whatever.
Hey.
I think she's thinking about who her next head coach is going to be.
Got to think about something.
I think Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams are not going to be at USC for a super long time here.
I just hope they don't come knocking on Kalen DeBoer's door. Oh,
yeah.
I hope that's
the other thing really quick is the Hoop Dogs got a nice dub tonight, 91-57, 1-0.
Nice.
I was curious about who was the high scorer.
Oh, I get so I don't know off the top. I can look really fast, but everything I'm reading, just like scrolling Twitter as we're doing this, it sounds like Corin Johnson balled.
Yeah. Ooh,
which is pretty which is cool to see, man.
That's what I'm hoping for too. I would love to see UW hoops get back on it, but all right. All right, you guys.
Before we wrap up, 9-0. It's weird to think that it's weird to come home from LA and feel like that this is a lull in our schedule. But does it kind of feel like that way to you guys?
When you say a lull, what do you mean?
Like I'm not like I almost feel like like we got out of LA and we've already beaten Oregon, already beaten, escaped Arizona. Like I feel like drained, but I feel like really confident in these next 3 games. And I don't know if that's just because I got back from a friggin' 19-hour drive or whatever it was over the last 2 days. But do you guys feel like, just as enthusiastic about these next 3 games mentally, where you're like going to be dialed in on every single play for Utah, for Wazoo, for Oregon? I mean, Oregon State, I think so. But for this Utah game, do you feel like a lull after LA just mentally?
I guess I think.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. And go ahead, Mike. I'll come out to you.
I was going to say, them being ranked top 15 and being the defending Pac-12 champions, 2 weeks ago after the Oregon game, I didn't think that way. But where they're sitting right now, especially after they spanked Arizona State, who really gave us a run for our money, you bet your ass I'm paying attention to it and going and looking really, really hard at it, because these 3 games can do something that hasn't happened since I was 9 years old. You know what I'm saying? An undefeated season. So, yeah.
I will say it. I'll say it this way. UW can lose to Utah. There's no question. They could lose in Corvallis. Anything can happen on Saturdays. I will say, though, when you were around October, 14th going into that Oregon game, and then we won, and then you started looking at that November schedule at that point,
yeah,
you were like, dude, that is a freaking gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
And then you remember October 14th, you're still thinking, is there a chance Cam Rising comes back? We got to see Cam Rising, and then DJ, and then Cam Ward. And then, obviously, then you have Caleb Williams to start that month. I will say it that way, is it doesn't look the gauntlet that it did then, but I still think there's a reason Kyle Whittingham's the Don, and it's just go 1-0, man. That's all Uncle No-No's got to say. Just go 1-0.
Yep,
right.
And KDB's got to beat him. He hasn't beat him yet.
Total opposite direction. I'm going to put you guys on the hot seat right now. Does
Mm-hmm.
UW undefeated this season?
Say it one more time.
Does UW go undefeated regular season 12-0?
Oh, hell yeah.
I think so, too.
Yep.
Think about that.
12-0, baby.
12-0.
Oh, my gosh, man. We'll never forget this season. We'll never forget this season.
I don't think we will anyway. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for watching the Dubbed Up podcast. I'm Mike Flunt. That's my guy Izzo. That's my guy Noah. We'll see you guys next week. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.